Hi everyone, and welcome back to Story Time with Angel, Bonnet and Friends. Right, I have a very special story for you. This story was written by Enid Blyton. Enid Blyton was my favourite storyteller when I was a little girl, and it's only right that I share that with you. So before we begin, make sure that you are teddy ready. That's right. You need to go grab your favourite teddy or cuddly toy and get in bed, get all comfortable and get ready to listen to the story. Right, off you go. Are you ready? Have you got your teddy? And are you all snuggly and ready in bed? You are? Amazing. Right, now we can begin. This story is called Giant Sleepyhead and the Magic Towers by Enid Blyton. Jock was playing hide and seek with Mary. He was looking for a good place to hide when suddenly he saw a little tower standing among the bracken. What an extraordinary thing, thought Jock. Mary, Mary, he called. Come and see what I've found. Mary came running up. My goodness, she said. What a funny little tower. Do you think it's magic? They went close to it and stood looking at it. It certainly was peculiar. It stood there, square and tall, all by itself among the trees. The top of it rose to the treetops. Let's go inside, said Jock. No, look, said Mary, pointing to a large notice hanging on the door. None but fairy folk may enter here. We're not fairies, so we mustn't. Never mind, we might get to fairyland, and you know you're always wanting to go there, said Jock. So feeling just a little bit frightened, the children pushed open the door and went in. Oh, there's nothing inside except stairs going up and round, cried Mary. Come on, up to the top then, said Jock. And up the spiral staircase they went, round and round, till they were out of breath. Here's the top of the tower, called Jock. And oh, Mary, come quick. There's a lovely sort of fairy aeroplane here. So there was. It had 2 seats, and to each seat there was a pair of blue wings. It wasn't at all like a proper aeroplane. Jock and Mary were tremendously excited. They climbed into the seats just to see what it felt like. Whiz, whiz. Jock, it's flying, cried Mary, feeling very frightened. Hush, Mary, it's all right. I expect it will take us somewhere lovely, said Jock, feeling really rather afraid himself. The fairy aeroplane flew along rather like a bird without a head. The seats were its body, and the wings at each side flapped just like a bird's. Jock peeped over the side. We are going to fairyland, he shouted excitedly. I can see the fairies down there. Bump! The aeroplane came to a stop beside another tower, rather like the one in the wood. Jock and Mary scrambled out. They went down the stairs and found themselves in a little room. A gnome sat there writing in a book. He looked up and saw them. Good afternoon, he said, That will be 2 pieces of fairy gold, please. I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid we haven't any gold. We're not fairies, you see, Jock explained, going rather red. Not fairies? Well, then how did you manage to fly here by our airplane? Asked the gnome in astonishment. We found it at the top of a tower in a wood, said Mary. You shouldn't have gone in that tower, said the gnome crossly. It's got a notice on to say it's only for fairies. Well, you'll have to pay for the ride somehow. I shall get a dreadful scolding if I'm short in my payments. Mary began to cry. How can we get the gold? She wept. Just then, in came a yellow fairy. She looked at Mary. Don't cry, little girl, she said kindly. What's the matter? Mary told her the trouble they were in. The fairy listened and looked rather solemn. Yes, you must certainly pay the money you owe for your ride, she said. I'll tell you what to do. Go and ask old giant Sleepyhead in that castle over yonder if he can give you some work to do and pay you for it. She pointed to a castle on a hill. Jock thanked her, took Mary's hand, and went out of the tower. Cheer up, Mary, he said. It's all right. When we get safe home again, think what a lovely adventure it will be to tell everybody. They went over fields and down lanes until they came to the castle on a hill. They went up to a huge door and pulled at a great bell string. A bell jangled through the castle with a tremendous noise. Mary took tight hold of Jock's hand. She wasn't sure if she would like seeing a giant. Clump, clump, clump. Down the hall came great footsteps, and the door swung wide open. There stood Giant Sleepyhead, an immense giant with, kind blue eyes like large saucers. Please, shouted Jock, please can you give us any work to do? We owe some money and we want to pay it back. The yellow fairy told us to come to you. Come in, invited the giant, and led the way into a huge kitchen. He sat down and put the children onto the table beside him. Well, I don't know what work I can give you, he said. You're much too little to make my bed or sweep my kitchen. Oh, do think of something, begged Jock. Well, there's one thing I'd like you to do, but I'm sure you can't, said the giant. I've promised to go to tea with my cousin, Giant Wide Awake, today, but I feel so frightfully sleepy that I'm afraid when 4 o'clock comes, I'll be so fast asleep I shan't wake up to go. Then he will be angry. Now, do you think if I fall asleep that I can trust you to wake me up? Oh, yes, promised the children. Well, I'll have a nap now, said the giant, getting on to an enormous couch. And mind you don't forget. He lay back, closed his eyes, and began to snore so loudly that all the plates on the dresser rattled. He's quite a nice, kind giant, said Mary. Can't we do something for him, Jock? I'll tell you something,